is I'm going to demonstrate the field of some of the rings that I make and also I distribute too. So I make tensor rings which create a tensor field, and tensor rings are lengths, cubic measure lengths, that we can then anchor certain vibration, certain frequency, a bandwidth of frequency into this column which is within the ring. So a lot of people think the energy is just coming from the physical copper itself, but the field we're trying to create is actually within this area that you can't see anything inside that ring. So we're going to be looking at those, and we're also going to be looking at the Krystaline energy tool range as well, which is the sun ring and the divinity ring as well. And we're going to test the field with some dowsing rods to show the difference of a food substance here. So we've got a biscuit here. So first of all, what we're going to do is I'm going to test the field of that biscuit just by itself before using the tools to charge it. Now these specific tools have all different unique roles and functions, and but we're going to mainly look at how it greatly improves the auric field or the energy field of this biscuit. Just like us, you know, we've got an auric field and energy field, but also all the things that we consume as well. And it's important because these things that we consume, if they've got low vibration and we bring that into our field, even though we're eating it, and if we look at it as a physical, at the physical plane, at the energetic plane, we're taking that low vibration, so it's going to have an effect on our vibration. Okay, so what we're going to do is I'm going to take these rods now and I'm going to find out how big a field this biscuit is. So you only want to know the field of this biscuit here, correct? Yes or no? Okay, so here we go. So am I within the field of that biscuit there, please, on the plate? Am I within the field of the biscuit, please? Yes or no? So about there, okay, I'll just make sure. So we're in the field there. We're out of the field there. So it's roughly probably 5 feet away, I would say, something like that. That the field of that biscuit just by itself. So that's a decent amount of field, okay? And that's, again, 360 degrees. That'll be creating that field, okay? So what we'll do is roughly about 5 feet, okay? So what we're going to do now is I'm going to take this particular tool here. Now for the people that have got the sun ring already and also got the neutralization ring, because I sell them as a combination because they work well together. The neutralization ring is like this but with the prongs going inwards. The neutralization ring restructures anything or transmutes negative field into positive field, and then when you bring the sun ring in, we charge that field that's now structured and it can hold that energy with the sun's energy, hence why it's called the sun ring. So what we're going to do here, we don't have a neutralization ring here, but you can use a neutralization ring before you use this. I do recommend that. But what we're going to use, I'm going to use one of my tools. This works very much like the neutralization ring because it transmutes negative field into positive field. And what it does, especially in regards to this biscuit, but also when we use this on our body, for example, the outside ring of this is the activation ring, exactly like this. So it does that within my field, my body too, but what it's going to do is it's going to unlock the DNA, the RNA, the coding within that biscuit, okay? So it's going to activate all the minerals in it, everything that's within it, so it's more bioavailable to absorb, and hence what you're going to see is the auric field's going to be larger for that biscuit. Again, the same thing applies when we do it for the human body or any other aspect, including water, a beverage, or anything of that. So here we go. So I'm just going to place that underneath the biscuit. Okay. I'm just going to let that charge it. Okay. So what we've done there is we've used that ring there. Okay. Now what we're going to do is we're going to impart the sun ring underneath it too. Just wait again, only takes seconds, especially with the sun ring, the neutralization ring, they're very fast very quick to have a immediate effect. Okay, so that's done. So we're going to take that away. And what we're going to do, now we're going to test its field. Remember, before we charged that biscuit, the field was out to about 5 feet. Okay, so here we go. So I want to know the field of this particular biscuit, please. Am I within the field of that biscuit, please? So I'm about at 5 feet now, and we're still within the field of the biscuit. Okay, so we know that already those rings have had an effect on that biscuit, where the field is increased. Okay, so I'm going to keep going. Are we within the field of that biscuit that's on the plate, please? Are we within the field of that biscuit, please? Yes or no? So we've doubled, at least doubled that field now. Are we within the field of that biscuit, please? Are we within the field of the biscuit, please? Are we within the field of the biscuit, please? Are we within the field? Okay, just make sure. Okay, so you can see that the difference, okay, with that, it's probably 4 or 5 times, at least, the distance that would increase the auric field. We've increased the auric field by at least 4 or 5 times of that biscuit using first the activation ring, which you can use the neutralization ring, and also the sun ring. Okay, now the sun ring is a charger. This transmutes field. What this also does is, hence why it's called the activation ring, is it unlocks the DNA, the RNA, the coding of what's within that biscuit. Same with the body. Okay, so what it does is it makes those minerals, we've unlocked the minerals. Okay, so therefore they're more bioavailable, you absorb more of it. Okay, and hence when you go ahead and eat that biscuit, compared to this other biscuit here that hasn't been structured, you'll notice that while you're chewing on this biscuit here that has been charged, that just dissolves in your mouth, just effortlessly, like you don't need to do as much work digesting it, okay, compared to the one that hasn't been charged. And you'll note a difference when you're chewing it and you're eating it. Even the flavor does change too, if you're very sensitive to the energies. So this is a wonderful ring because of that reason. It activates, unlocks everything. So therefore then, you're open to take new vibration and frequency, and then we bring this ring in to anchor in the sun's energy, so you can take that light in, okay? We hear about within mainstream science and modern medicine about the benefits of vitamin D, and where do we get vitamin D? Majority from the sun, okay? And a number of other things. The sun is symbolic of source, okay, where we originally come from within this reality. So very powerful tool, and I'm currently creating a system at the moment which is going to teach people how to use this particular tool to its full potential, to use the sun ring as a broadcasting tool, as a radionics device. Okay. Now this other tool I'm going to show you, this is another tensor ring, and this is called the gateway qubit ring. Now what I've started to do with my products is, for especially water, is I always use this ring to restructure your water, and it does a fantastic job. The longer you leave it there, for example, before I go to bed at night, I fill up a big bottle of water and I place this ring over top of it, and now I place this ring over top of it as well. And obviously, once I get up in the morning, probably 8 or 9 hours have passed, and the water is structured back to its source origin. Okay, not only its mineral content's unlocked, but the consciousness of water has gone back to its pure original source state. And what do we call it when we go to a spring to get our water? We're getting water from the source. And the thing about spring water is, spring water bypasses all laws of physics, because what it does, it comes from an aquifer and it levitates up. Okay, that's why we see a lot of springs are up quite high on like mountain ranges and hills, because levitational forces is source energy or ascension energy. And physics says that if any force goes against gravity, friction's created and heat's created, but spring water is the coldest water you'll ever drink. So it bypasses all laws of physics. So you can create your own spring water with these rings. Now the addition of the gateway is what is happening is we're taking that water or that food substance to a higher consciousness level, okay, which we could call more galactic or more universal, okay. Just like us, we're living out a reality here through this vessel, which is called the human body, and our consciousness is controlling it. But we have our higher selves or source self, which are higher aspects of ourselves, so our consciousness. So by bringing this ring in here, we are activating the minerals within that biscuit to its higher levels of its consciousness, just like as I mentioned about myself. And everything about that biscuit, everything about that water, or wherever you want to use these rings on. So that's why we've added this to this in regards to restructuring your water, but you can do it for a number of things, and hence I do that for myself. And that's what that is. That there is using exactly the same 2 cubic measures. It's just, the fraction is just half of the size of these two, okay? So that's doing that for me in regards to bringing my high aspects of my consciousness here, okay? So what I'm going to do, I probably can't show it with, because we went all the way back as far as we could probably go in regards to showing the field of this biscuit now once it had been charged, used with the activation ring as well as the sun ring. But if we had a bit more space, when you'd add the gateway cubit, I'd probably have to walk back outside of the house and probably onto the other side of the road and probably even further. That's where the field would go when you add this one. Okay, because again, what you're doing is you're bringing the everything has consciousness. This chair has consciousness. If something didn't have consciousness, we wouldn't see a physical form of it in this reality. So for this biscuit, we are bringing its higher aspects of its field into the biscuit here by adding the gateway cubit. Okay, so that's how amazing these things are. And I wanted to demonstrate to you in these videos. Okay, what we're going to do next though, we've already used that one and we've charged it, so we're going to put that one aside. And we're going to take this one again. This is the cookie that has, or biscuit that has not been charged. Okay. Now, what we're going to do with this biscuit, instead of the sun ring, we're going to use a divinity ring. Okay. Now, the divinity ring is also a charger. Okay. So we have the neutralization ring. We have the activation cubit, which transmutes negative field into positive field. Okay. So it unlocks it. So therefore it can then take on the energy of a tool that would charge it. For example, the sun ring, the divinity ring. Now these two are different. Obviously you can see they're different. The thing about the sun ring is it's a broadcaster. The prongs go out, so whatever you place in it, it pushes that field out. Okay, so hence it's a broadcaster. This one doesn't necessarily broadcast it out. It creates more of a column of energy. Okay, but what you can do, if you have both these tools, you can put them together. So you can go like that, and you can put the divinity ring. So the energy of the divinity ring is not only a column now, it's actually being pushed out using the sun ring. Okay, so you can use all these tools together. So what we're going to do here, first of all, is I'm not going to use this to start off with. I'm just going to go in straight away and use this, and I'm going to see what field it generates. Okay, so let's, first of all, I'm going to ask what the field is of this biscuit alone right now, please. Okay, am I within the field? Am I within the field of the ring, within the biscuit? Okay, so again, about the same as the last biscuit. Now, if it's from the same batch, if all the ingredients are exactly the same, it's going to have the same field, but some batches might be slightly different, a little bit, you know, the field might be not as big, and it might be a little bit bigger with some others, but it's roughly about the same as the other one was before we used any tools. What we're going to do here is I'm not going to use the activation, I'm going to go straight ahead and use the divinity. And we're going to see what the divinity does. Again, I don't know what it's going to do. Let's see what it's going to do with that alone. Now the divinity root works very, very quickly. Is that finished? Or is it still going? It only takes 2 or 3 seconds, okay? So what we're going to do, we're going to take that out now. We're going to see what the field is like of that. So what of this biscuit here, what am I within the field? Am I within the field piece? So it has activated it, and that's what the divinity ring does. Okay, so there we go. So as you can see, it's probably doubled the field or a bit more, okay, but not as much as the sun ring with the activation ring, okay. Remember, with this one here, we only use the divinity ring, not the activation qubit ring, okay. So the thing about the divinity is, and Wayne Gados, who I currently did an interview with, he mentioned with the thing of the divinity ring that it activated particularly oxygen, okay. So what he found was that he placed this particular tool under his fertilizer to feed his plants. And when he charged with fertilizer, because fertilizer is, what are you giving? You're feeding the plants, right? You're putting it in the soil and you're feeding the plants. So what this did, it activated minerals in that fertilizer. He fed the plant, one planter box, and then one planter box didn't get the fertilizer that had been charged with divinity. The following morning, he could notice a big difference in its growth just overnight, just using this particular ring. When he placed this on his acetylene and oxygen tanks, which he uses to weld the products, he noticed that when he put the divinity ring on it, and it only created that charge by keeping this ring on it, that he had to turn the oxygen down because it somehow activated the oxygen to a higher level or a higher plane of existence. So the divinity ring is very good for those sorts of things. Now, what we're going to do now, though, is I'm going to add that particular ring now. And I'm going to see if the fields change when we add this one, even though we've used the divinity ring. So this is the activation qubit ring. Okay. Just let that to take effect. Okay, is that working still? So at the moment, I'm using my body as like a pendulum. I'm just asking my body, is it working? And it's pulling me forward. Because I know forward means yes. Okay, now it's pulled me back to say no, it's finished. Okay, and we can all do that. We can go to a supermarket and grab a piece of food that we're thinking, oh, is this right for me or my body? You can ask it, just like that. Simple as that. Okay, let's find out what the field is like now, please. Okay, are we within the field of the biscuit, please? Are we within the field of the biscuit, please? Are we within the field of the biscuit? Are we within the field of the biscuit, please? Are we within the field of the biscuit? So look at that. So roughly, what's happened there is it's gone about at the same place that we used the divinity ring. Now, as I mentioned just before, the divinity ring's an activator. Okay, so this ring here and this ring here probably got more in common than that one and that one. Okay, as I say, it's got broadcasting ability. Okay, so you saw that the field that we used those two together was bigger than the field that those two were, just because of the sun ring's broadcasting ability. Okay, but as I say, I'm going to use this now. We're just going to add the gateway to it, and you'll notice the field should be larger. So let's do that. Okay, has it been charged? Just tell me when it stopped, please. Okay, is that finished? Okay, so let's test it now. Okay, am I within the field of this biscuit, please? Am I in the field of this biscuit, please? Am I in the auric field of this biscuit, please? Yes or no? Am I within the field of this auric biscuit? So we've already gone past where it was before. Are we within the field of the auric, within the biscuit, please? Are we within the field of the biscuit? Are we within the field of the biscuit? So as you can see, I've gone as far as I can go. I went as far as I can go. And the field, I was still within the field. Okay, and that's the benefit of the gateway. Now what this does is brings in the energy of the higher consciousness levels or planes of existence of this biscuit, and it brings it and draws it here. So therefore, naturally, the field gets bigger. And And that's the benefit of this one, okay? We just take it to a completely new level by including the gateway qubit. And hence why a lot of my tools it's really telling me to bring those two together. Pendants, the water rings that we really recommend for people restructuring their water and working on their water, but a number of other things too. Those particular 2 qubit rings. I'm just trying to think. Now another thing with the sun ring is what you can do is you can put intention notes in it too, and this is what's going to be part of the system that I'm creating to use the sun ring as a broadcasting device. And what that really means is that you can create anything, okay? You can, what you can do simply, and I've done this to a number of people, that you can get a substance, or not even a substance at all, in the sun ring, and all you do is put the note lemon in the sun ring. All you do is you put your hand or finger in the sun ring, and within seconds you can taste the lemon in the back of your throat, even though there's no lemon there. It's just written on a piece of paper. So what you're doing there is you're writing the word lemon in the sun ring, and then the sun ring broadcasts the vibration frequency of what lemon is, and then this is the connection to you. By putting your finger in it, comes up here into your body, and then you get the sensation of eating or tasting a lemon. Okay, so you could put vitamin C, and let's say you want to put vitamin C in the biscuit, so you put vitamin C in it, put the biscuit over it, and within seconds the vibration and frequency of vitamin C is being put into the biscuit. So it's amazing, this particular tool, and hence why I'm making a system about it, because I think the broadcasting ability of it is something that's very specific and very unique about the sun ring, and that's a system or a product that's going to be coming very soon. But anyway, I wanted to do the demonstration in regards to the field, how we can change the field of a substance. So when you then eat the biscuit, once we've activated the field, made all the minerals bioavailable, that when then you eat that biscuit, you use less effort to digest it, you absorb more of the minerals, and it doesn't lower your field, your auric field, okay? What we do know about, especially like when you come down with a virus or come down with a bacteria or an infection, that's because your auric field, your vibration frequency of your body has reduced, lowered, and what that does, it activates certain microbes in the body, which is consciousness too. Everything's consciousness, to then not work correctly, and we call that pathogenic. And all of a sudden you come down with symptoms, right? Those symptoms are there, like a runny nose or anything like that, to bring an awareness or focus that, something's not right. That's the body trying to communicate to you to say, hey, you need to do something about this. Okay, so it's all about vibration. It's all about frequency. It's about keeping your auric field high vibrational, and these tools achieve that for you. Anyway, until next time, bye.